Hi guys, Alastair down here at the golf studio at St Anne's Old Links, and today we are testing the Pxg 0311T irons. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not just doing 7-iron, we're going to do 4-iron down to pitching wedge, 3 shots with each club using Titleist Pro V1X golf balls on GC2. Let's look at the clubs and see what all the hype is about. Okay then guys, so we've got the 0311T and we're going to go from 4-iron all the way through the irons down to pitching wedge. Okay then guys, so Pxg 0311T, we've got forged head, got tungsten screws around the outside to give that extra forgiveness, you know, making this club, even though it's a player's club, as forgiving as possible. We've got very, very thin top line, lovely clean looking head, got very, very narrow sole, so real ultimate workability. Even though these are forged, there is a little cavity inside the head which is filled with thermoplastic elastomer, so really going to make it feel and sound just incredible. 0% tolerance with these clubs as well, so everything that comes off the production line is absolutely perfect. But the most exciting thing is let's get some shots hit and let's see how they actually perform. Okay guys, so we're gonna hit every iron. We're gonna go from 4-iron down to pitching wedge. Just gonna hit kind of 3 shots with each one, give you some feedback on kind of looks and feel, but also look at some performance. Because certainly when we get into these clubs, you know, these are made out of the best materials, you know, no expense spared, you know, so there's a premium price for that, but we're going to look at, you know, are these something that you would consider putting in your bag? Now there's 3 different models and I'm going to do reviews on each one, and I'm going to do a general video on kind of what the different models offer, but we're going for the T, so this is the kind of more tour inspired, smallest head, thinner sole, much more traditional on lofts as well, which is going to be big on distance. This isn't a golf club that's about hitting it as far as you can, but it just kind of oozes kind of sexiness, and genuinely excited to hit these. So we're going to start with pitching wedge, like I said, 3 shots with each, work up onto 4-iron, give you some feedback on looks and feel, but also how the clubs perform. So we're going to use Pro V on GC2, show you some flight data as well, but behind the golf ball it just looks very, very nice, very good behind the ball. So pitching wedge, off we go. And they are incredibly soft. Okay, about 110 carry, but yeah, very, very soft, and maybe a little bit different sound than maybe I was expecting, which is certainly the thermoplastic elastomer inside. Definitely making a different noise, but still feels very, very soft, sounds great. And again, another nice solid one with wedge. Again, getting out there okay. And we're going to go one final one with pitching wedge. But again, yeah, just nice and accurate. I'd hope to be that with wedge. And kind of 3 good solid shots. Let's have a quick look at some numbers to see how the wedge performs. So as we load the wedge distances up, we can see there kind of decent amount of spin, you know, maybe just a touch on the low side at 8,500, but pretty good. Peak height 33 yards, great. Average carry 114. So certainly with a 46 degree pitching wedge, you know, that's a decent number for there. So we are now going to move into 9-iron. And yeah, I mean, certainly there. Pitching wedge to begin with, lovely, very, very nice. And just be interested as I go through these clubs, we go from 46 degrees on the pitching wedge to 41 in the 9-iron. So 5-degree gap there is a little bit unusual. A lot of manufacturers, you're only kind of 4 degrees. So we'd be expecting from 4 degrees to be 10 to 12 yards. So we might be more 12 to 15 yards. So in theory, we're probably looking about just under 130 for the carry with 9-iron. But we're ready to go, and let's go with 9-iron. So maybe just a little bit heavy. Yeah, maybe lost a couple of yards on that one. But again, let's go again. We've got another couple and then look at the averages. That one felt a bit more solid, more accurate. And kind of that one probably pitching out there round about where I would expect with my current 9-iron. Yeah, maybe a couple of yards back, but 127, pretty good. And one final one. Again, another nice solid strike. I'm very much kind of looking at the distance I'd expect with a 5-degree change. But let's go and look at some numbers as the overall performance. And again, we can see as we load the numbers up, we saw a bit more ball speed. Spin dropped off mainly because of the first one. You know, I think we're looking more like about 8,000 for the spin there. Average carry 125. So yeah, you know, everything good on performance. And that's ready to move then into 8-iron. So again, as we move into 8-iron, we are going from 41 to 36 in 8-iron. So again, 5-yard gap. So even though we would say maybe the wedges aren't the strongest, we can see because the gaps are a bit bigger, we're kind of closing down in those lofts. So still should maintain some good distance. That felt a nice solid strike. Should be 135 to 140. Looking at the gaps in here for lofts. Yeah, kind of bang on where I'd like that to be. Shot number 2. And again, nice and accurate. How we're looking on yardage, right on the money. So yeah, I mean, just even though it's a bit unusual to have the kind of 5-degree gap, it's definitely doing what I would expect it to do. And the beauty with, obviously you would get custom fit hopefully for any clubs, but particularly for these, you would get everything absolutely perfect. If you wanted that pitching wedge just to go that little bit further, you know, you've got that scope with them being so soft to actually get them bent down to the loft you'd want for the yardage you want. But one final one with 8-iron. Again, another nice solid shot. Yeah, and for me, it's just exactly where I want that to be. So let's look at the numbers again and see how 8-iron overall stacks up. So again, 6,500 spin, pretty pleased with that. You know, if you look how the clubs are going from one to the next. Peak height, so starting to hit it quite high as peak height, but average carry 141. Again, through the set, everything's really dropping into place. Okay guys, so we go into 7-iron, 32 degrees loft. And again, you know, they look very clean. You know, it looks like a real classic player's golf club, but you can tell from the back, and obviously if you look into the technology, the fact that there's that little bit of hollowness inside, you know there's that little bit more forgiveness than a traditional blade. Didn't quite get that, a little bit out the toe. Okay, just under 150 though, with a little bit of a miss hit. Probably expecting a good strike here to be maybe just over 150, maybe up to 155. That was a bit better. Straighter, a little bit higher. Again, just around that 150. So we were 141 with 8 iron. So 4 degrees difference, we're maybe looking 150, 151. So I'm there or thereabouts. And one final one. That's the best of the lot strike-wise. And again, yeah, kind of just over that 150. But again, let's look at the numbers. Let's see how, it's only 3 shots, but let's see how the kind of clubs are performing. Okay, so 149 carry as my average, spinning at 6,000, which again, 6 to 7,000 with 7 iron nowadays is acceptable. Ball speed with the final one got up to 116, so you could see the best strike got me the best kind of overall numbers. But again, just very, very solid. So as we move from 7 iron to 6 iron, we go from 32 to 28 degrees. So we're now still into that 4 degrees difference per club. And it, you know, even though this is kind of the real players club, don't feel really that hard to hit. I may have just proved that wrong. That wasn't the best strike by any means. A little bit heavy, but it kind of got out there okay. You know, that's for one that I've caught heavy. I would take that as my carry, 155. Hopefully get a more solid one out of these next 2. Felt a little bit better. Just not quite turning over. But that certainly got out there a little bit further. 164. One final one with 6 iron. Again, there's my kind of standard little shapy one. Maybe just didn't aim far enough right. But again, getting out there. A decent number again. And what I'd expect with a 6 iron. So we can see on the good strikes, kind of just over 165 would be my carry. But even the one I caught very, very heavy at 155, still super impressive. But you can see the ball speed did really drop off. That's down to me, not the club. If you get a little bit of ground, you can't expect that speed. But again, on the good strikes, you know, the spin's round about where I'd want that to be. Okay then guys, so this is where we see the lofts kind of start to change again. We had 6 iron at 28, 5 irons only 25. So we're really relying now on kind of these tungsten screws down in the bottom to make sure that centre of gravity is low. I'm going to launch the ball up in the air that little bit more. But at 3 degrees, we might struggle to see an extra 10 yards. But let's have a look. So a little bit out the toe. And certainly with this model, you get that feedback. Okay, still, for one I haven't got, I'd still be pleased with that. And you know, this is kind of interesting for me because this isn't the set that Pxg would say are forgiving. And yet I'm finding on those poor strikes, I'm still getting a decent yardage on there. So that's more like it. Good strike, plenty of height. And yeah, you know what, that's getting out there. That's getting out there. We were around 165 with 6 iron. 177 does exactly what we want 5 iron to do. And let's go one final one. So a little bit thin. Be interesting to see on a bit of a bottomy strike. Not bad. Definitely still getting some good performance, distance-wise certainly, out of a miss hit. So when we look, the second one was comfortably the best strike. Ball speed's right up there where I'd want with a loft of 5 iron like this. Again, spin's great. Last one spun a bit more because it was a little low off the face. Again, still hitting it nice and high though. So the spin's bottom end of where we want, but the peak height's nice and high. And with a carry of 171 with a couple of miss hits, again, very, very good. Right then guys, so 5 iron to 4 iron now. We're going from 25 degrees in the 5 iron to 22.5. So there's only 2.5 degrees. So my initial concern will be 2.5 degrees. Is it too close to 5 iron? Well, easiest way of finding out is let's hit them. The guys, when they're designing these, know what they're doing. So in theory, we still should see that extra 10 yards, even though the loft might not suggest it. So a solid strike, just not turning over. So I've aimed out there. Okay, so around kind of 171 with the miss hits, 177 was the long one with 5 iron. 180, so yeah, don't think that was great. But last couple. So probably there's more my normal shape. Definitely getting out there. What we're seeing is the carry on that. 185. And again, not perfect by any means, just not turning over. Just stayed out there, just a little bit of a block. But let's again look at some numbers for 4 iron and see how it compared. Okay guys, so just under 130 ball speed, pleased with that. Launching at 18.3, so launching quite high. So even though kind of decent loft for 4 iron, still launching the ball up in the air. I mean, if I look at that, 39-yard peak height is high. And a carry of 182. I was 171 with 5 iron with maybe not hitting it great, and I would agree I've not hit 4 iron fantastically well there, but we're definitely seeing the gap in as being absolutely what we'd be looking for. Right then guys, so we've looked at the numbers with the clubs as we've gone along there, so quite a long video for me this one, but I felt with this set of clubs, because there's something very desirable, because I think everyone looks at them and can't necessarily justify the money, but kind of would like to have them. I felt doing a full set review on these was worth doing, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. But the 0311T, so it's the player's iron, and it's going to be aimed at a very small percentage of the market. You know, I mean, looks and feel, they're right up there with anything that I've ever hit. Performance-wise, when I looked at the lofts before the video, I did have an element of concern that maybe they weren't going to do what they needed to do club to club. But when I look at the numbers on GC2, they absolutely do everything that I need them to do. So that's absolutely perfect. You know, if you're in the market for a new set of irons, are Pxg something that you should be looking for? Yeah, you should definitely try them. I mean, like I said, the price point, they are top end. You know, but I think between the 3 models of 0311T, 0311 or 0311XF, you know, there's something for everybody there. And I am a big believer that when you get a set of irons set up properly for you, and you have to be custom fit, you know, you have to be custom fit for them, you can make these set of irons last a really good amount of time in your bag. So for me, it's worth the outlay. Might be more than you guys would have been looking to spend, but you get them in your bag, you will love something like that. So guys, as ever, hope you've enjoyed the video. Something a little bit different with the full set review. If you have enjoyed it, like and share. Follow me on all the social media platforms. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.